Awesome. We are just about to hit 100 participants. Wonderful. Beautiful.
我们再想一下需要释放的东西，允许自己只是觉察，能够看到感。
Okay, we should have a Chinese translation also starting up. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Wherever you're calling from, we're happy to have you with us. If you are looking for language interpretation, at the bottom of your screen, you will find a button to choose your interpretation. If you would like to listen to the webinar in English, please choose English or whichever appropriate language that you would like. We should be starting in a few minutes. Jelly says excited. We're excited too. Wow, look at everyone's faces. It's so nice to see everybody. Big wave to everybody. All right, Josh and Raena are here as well. So we can go ahead and get started. There we go. I want to welcome everyone here. And of course, we have our favorite Josh and Raena here with us to share today's topic, which is all about getting on the path of your divine timing, discovering that divine timing. I can't think of a better topic for today than that. Personally, I've just come out of the Planes of Existence class 2, where all the energy was really about divine timing and discovering who we are. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Josh and Raena Stibal to talk to us about this really interesting and exciting topic. Welcome and thank you, Josh and Raena.
Thanks, Sanaya. Hi, everyone. It's so great to see you. We've been seeing all your cute, beautiful faces and all your waves and all your hearts and all the things that you've been interacted with. So thank you. And thank you for all the interpretations. Of course, first things first, maybe scan all of you. And let's walk up to the creator of all that is. Everybody close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And gather all the energy up from the bottoms of your feet to go through your space and see yourself in a beautiful ball of light. take that ball up to the sky and the universe through this series of white lights and dark lights and golden lights, all the way up through that jelly-like substance into that tingly white light, all the way down to your toes. Once you're there, say, Creator, thank you for my life. Take a deep breath in and open your eyes. Divine timing. This is a great subject.
Anytime you talk about finding or discovering or knowing how to move. I'm gonna put my legs down, stop sitting with my knees to my chest. Saturday morning cartoon phase. That's my crouch. We start talking about the thing that was mentioned first is you have to know who you are to know all the things that you were put here to do. But it's not just knowledge. There's an acceptance to see how great your cells are and what that purpose was to do so. So we get a lot of pressure from those words. We get a lot of pressure from divine timing. We get a lot of pressure in our life or force in our life that moves us when we start thinking about what we accomplish, who we connect to, how we're remembered, if people can see us, whether that's work pressure, family pressure, whatever. When I was born, my mom shared with me my whole life that there was a special energy in the room when I was born. When I was young, I took it to mean I must have been the only person that had some sort of special energy, and I must have to live up to all these things that my mom says. As I grew older, I recognized that everyone's born with a special energy in the room and in their cells. We're born with a connection to all things that lives in us, around us. We have the power to see and use and connect to unconditional love. What we don't all have is the understanding that we were born with the purposes of being us. And I didn't understand it either, even though my mom was trying to say it. And the vibration of the words were one certain way. There was a lot of extra factors inside of my physical body, inside of other environments that moved myself, my connection to the universe, all over the place.
You mean it left you feeling like you needed to, or had the pressure to help and be something for them because of your ancestors, because of your family, because of all the things that they wanted you and saw you to be? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're born with the pressure to not be ourselves the minute we come into relying on others, and we do rely on others. So there's an awakening that comes from raising our vibration and knowing who we are and being able to communicate that. That awakening requires us to have tools to depend on others to guide us to develop. And during that process, it allows us to develop tools to know how to communicate with our surroundings. Within that process of communication, we get stuck. We get stuck in fears, we get stuck in different resentments, we get stuck in experience. And this can happen at all different times in our life, that these lower vibration processes pull us away from our highest vibration calling. So the first thing about discovering your divine timing and knowing how important you are is to know how unique you are. In everything that was led up to the moments of your lifetime, from all those different connections, you can do a little bit of math and you figure out pretty quickly that you are one of a kind. And even the information that you carry in your cells that might be shared with other people, that might bring certain similar looks to family members, or they could have parts of it. You're choosing to build from it differently. Your energy has a choice, and it has the uniqueness to create with a signature that's all your own. You have your own vibration, which is pretty cool when you recognize how that vibration and that purpose was agreed to come to a certain time and place. And that time and place, of course, is now. So on all of your paths to this morning, you made decisions. You went through life. When you were 2 years old, you decided to do this. When you were 4 years old, you decided to do that. You were making choices and connections and communication to call in new things with the world around you.
Even with your backgrounds right now, because we were looking at some of your backgrounds, and they are some really cool backgrounds, or something that you chose today. Everything about you, from the clothes that you wore to the glasses you have on your face, even your cute little earbuds that you have, everything was chosen by you. And it represents you, something that has unique things about you.
You play a really big part in that process. But along the ways of some of these communications and some of those fears, part that we play as co-creators in our own journey and the agreements we've made to reach out and connect with other people, which is our divine timing, we sometimes get a little bit lost. So we have to go back and we have to start by discovering and loving ourselves and allowing ourselves to be seen through an energy of pure creation, what we know as unconditional love. And theta healing, when we do belief work and we connect higher to ourself vibrationally, our energetic self, our spirit self, we open up the doors to do more things that we promised the universe we would do with our energy. Funny thing about all these connections and promises that we have to allow our energy to be true. When we made those promises and agreements, it was because we knew from a space of unconditional love how important it was and how we affected things in the world around us. And when we choose to not embrace those things, choose to turn a blind eye because they're overwhelming, it doesn't get us away from the purpose of ourself, the greatness of ourself. It just postpones the process. Mm-hmm. And when you postpone the process, all you're doing is waiting to go down the road to another time and place where the universe will create it a little louder and a little louder. In any event, you can't run away from your divine timing. You shouldn't feel like you have to run away from your divine time. If you do feel the pressure of your divine timing as overwhelming, that's letting you know that there's something inside of you that doesn't know how to allow your greatness to be accepted, really, and shine in a situation. Free from something that we call egotism. Egotism is a tiny problem that we have with the way we see ourselves, where we see only ourselves and we don't see our connection to all things around us. A healthy ego is a wonderful thing because it's a definition of who you are. You should be able to say what you like and don't like. You should be able to have respect for saying what you like and don't like. But you should also be able to hold an energy of respect for others to do the same. Instead of feeling like you have to fight for your voice, you should know it's heard, know it's accepted, know it's loved. Because of these lower vibrational things, we tend to create and battle with them amongst ourselves rather than move forward on our journey. When we go into discovering our divine timing, you're walking down the street and you feel like you're supposed to be in a certain place, or you feel like right now is the place you're supposed to be in. There's all kinds of signals that help you know where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. These signals can be defined in lots of different ways. We're going to talk about a couple of them. Raena is a big fan of synchronicity.
Yes. Synchronicity. Seeing things that, when you're on your right path and you happen to see things when just in the right moment, or epiphanies or deja vu or numbers that are 111 or certain types of different synchronicities that let me understand that the universe is speaking to me. things like animals, because in the Native American things, animals had some sort of meaning to them that I am very in tune with. And so those types of things are things that I look for when I know that I'm on my path of my divine timing. Everybody has their own way of understanding a communication that they have with the creator and when they're on their divine timing. If that's not something that you have yet, then maybe that's something that you are able to find what it is that works for you. Everybody's different.
Yeah, Raena will use her environment around her to let her take a look at her cells and see if she feels like this is the moment she was supposed to be in perfectly. And if she's doing the things that are true to herself.
Yeah.
It's a question that she asks
often.
And it's a question that she then looks around her environment to see how she's lining up with it. That's all she's doing. She's looking around to see how I'm lining up. What am I recognizing? What do you see inside of your day-to-day life? The more you clear little tiny things about loving yourself and allow yourself to be seen with unconditional love, the more you recognize all the communications going on around you. You're doing, in theta healing, we call it belief work, right? We're going to clear. You're doing belief work all the time. When you got up this morning and you came into this meeting, you were doing belief work. You were making a decision about the kind of energy that you started your day with. And you were making a choice as to what kind of energy you wanted it to be. If it wasn't the way you wanted, if it wasn't the feeling that you wanted this morning, if your outfit wasn't the way you wanted it to look on camera this morning.
Well, they're actually an evening, but if you got up this morning and it happened to be that way.
If your background didn't look a certain way. I can tell you right now that I've adjusted the background light 2 times this morning because Raena knows exactly the way she wants that light to hit us when we talk. And I'm glad she does.
Well, it does make it easier to be able to see us rather than make it dark. I think that kind of looks better on camera.
Because I see colors different than most people, I see really well in darkness. So if it gets darker, I can't really tell what other people would be able to see or not see so well. So I have to rely on other energies to help me know how to help the interaction of a moment be a true communication. Because to me, the same visualization, if I turn this off entirely, it looks very similar.
It definitely doesn't look similar to me because you can't really see us.
But that's okay. Knowing how to have the tools around you to increase that interaction and make the best, most abundant moment is our opportunity in every moment. And believe it or not, all these little emotions and interactions are serving you on your journey of awakening your highest and truest self with love by letting you see what you're creating with. And if you kind of dig in a little more, you can see all the things you're creating with. We can understand how to change more and control and choose in a co-creative perspective with the world around us, thousands of things in a specific moment. You have that awareness. You're processing that information. Right now with your smiles, your books, your backgrounds, you're communicating pieces of your energy visually. You're also communicating pieces of your energy intuitively. By thinking and focusing on what's going on, you're sending and spending a little bit of energy in our home. By letting us scan you and letting us see your names and be a part of this moment, you're letting us intuitively connect and scan and be in your areas. You're letting our energy feel you, see what's going on. Within that amazing ability of our body to go through that information, you could see there's also a lot of influence. That means there's lots of communicators in our world around us that can influence one direction or another. Then we have to ask, how are we letting ourselves be influenced? Are we letting ourselves be influenced in a way that is good or beneficial to ourselves and those around us? Or are we letting ourselves be influenced in a way that pulls us into a vibration where we're not really shining? A lot of times we take pressure of another person, another situation, and we misinterpret it through a lens of self-reflection. With self-reflection, we tend to look at lots of bad things. We tend to look at our mistakes, tend to look at what we don't have. We tend to look at all the things that make us unique and we point them out.
We tend to be a little bit more critical of ourselves rather than seeing all the things that make us beautiful and unique and special.
So pretty soon, rather than being able to use the tools of yourself to co-create and have an impact and be the truest version of yourself to be loved by you and by the universe in this time, we're spending a lot of vibration trying to make adjustments, to be like someone else, to fit in, to grind into exactly the expectation that we think someone has of us. And we fill in a lot of gaps with that expectation. Pretty soon, we're not living our lives for ourselves or for our own divine timing or the agreements we made to do and interact with on our journey. Pretty soon, we're living our life for all kinds of other energies. And when you're living your life for all kinds of other energies and you don't give yourself the same kind of love, push yourself down here. That's where we start to lose our true path to our divine timing, but we also start to lose the benefits of abundance in all things, abundance of health, abundance of emotional balance, abundance and prosperity of things to interact with and share with others, or abundance and prosperity. In fact, our world is so integrated and relying on other people to share energy with each other that everything that we know is based upon it. This meeting isn't just us. This meeting is a whole bunch of people at a company called Zoom who work to program and make sure things continue to function without any interactions. Growing company, grew a lot during COVID. So just this meeting alone has probably been touched and worked with several hundred people, coding, making sure that the information connects and discerns things from certain molecules, allows the feed to come into your computer, which has been developed and worked on by a whole bunch of energies, made from all kinds of components in our world from all planes of existence, brought to you to sit in front of you and have interaction right now, to have electricity that's brought to you by a whole bunch of energies of people doing work. And every day we interact with the energy that people leave behind. You discern what they leave behind in it, and you pick up what works with you and what doesn't. Meaning you're feeding a way to create unconditional love and divine timing, or you're creating with a lower vibration. If you're with a lower vibration, you're picking up on how they felt at work. And it isn't hard for an intuitive person. You're already an awakened person. You wouldn't be here if you haven't already started your journey of awakening and understanding the power of a person, specifically yourself. Which means every time that you walk into a room or turn on a computer, you're sorting through everything that's left from the experiences of those energies. You might walk into a room and feel frustrated because you don't know why. You might think, I don't know what's going on, why I'm frustrated. It must be something inside of myself. And it is. It's something that you picked up on from another person that triggered something inside of you. And rather than being able to recognize it, sort it, and move forward in your vibration to your path of connecting and showing your truth, your cells recognized it and got triggered by it.
But those triggers are nice little cues that give you an opportunity to either go on your path and keep it or change it. That's where belief work comes in. Allows you to figure out why you're keeping it in your life and how it's serving you, or move on and keep it until the next time the universe does something a little louder for you to recognize that, hey, maybe it's time for you to change this so that you can go on your divine timing.
Divine timing comes into your life. My divine timing is part of our family's divine timing. I have other parts of my divine timing. Raena has other parts of her divine timing. I ran away from large parts of my divine timing as often as I could. I ran as far away as I could. Look, I was a teenager when my mom's leg got better. And my mom and us as a family, we always did things that were a little different. They were way different for the area we were in. Typical Saturday night, people are going to movies. Friday night, people are going to movies in town, dinner with their families, bowling, all kinds of things. Think about it. Friday night, some of those big cities, you can do lots of stuff. Our Friday nights, when I was a kid, we're chilling in my mom's room, sending images of cards to each other intuitively. If you've taken or heard about the Rainbow Children class, all those little exercises, that was our childhood. That's what we did for fun. And when you bring your friends over and your mom tells them all the things that they've been doing in their life as a reading, and you're 14, 13, you're like, I don't know if I'm bringing friends over so much anymore. Your mom tells you you're going to be in trouble for the things that you're going to do tomorrow, and then you say you don't do them, and then you end up doing the thing that you said you wouldn't do. Things get really weird inside of yourselves. You start thinking, how come this is different than all that? And I went through that. How come this is different than all that? So my mom was like, this can be a part of your divine timing. And I said, sure, at first. And then I said, no, I want to do something else, anything else. And I ran away. First, I ran 3 hours away. Then the second that I went to do something else, someone would come in. They'd come in and they'd say, I'm having a hard time. I can't afford XYZ. Or I'm having a hard time. This just happened. It seemed like all these bad things keep happening to me. Having a healer's heart, which again, you all have a healer's heart. Immediately it goes out to them and it goes, well, I don't want anyone to have to go through something they shouldn't keep going through. You have the answer. You know how to help them. You don't want to just sit there and go, well, that's going to hurt, isn't it? Even though sometimes that's also the answer. But when it is, from unconditional love, somebody's ready. When they walk in and they're ready and you can feel it and you can help them, it just comes out. So I run away and people find you and say these things, and pretty soon you're doing it again. You're doing appointments. You're teaching the same thing that the family teaches. You're going, well, this is theta healing. I did that 3 times. I ran away. I ran further and further and further away. I'm like, no, that's not far enough away. This will get me further away. That's not far enough away. This will get me further away. Thinking that somehow this agreement that I made with the energy of everything would be avoidable by getting on an airplane and being in another location.
When we don't do those things and we run away, the universe can still find you. You're still going to be in those moments where you're going to have that chance to show the universe that you're ready or you're not. And you're just going to find more and more times to be able to actually go down your path of divine timing.
Well, there was this idea that, and it's an idea that's been actually group consciously helped by the internet, because we no longer think of just normal as our tiny bubble. We have a much bigger bubble.
Thank goodness.
We can connect to the whole world. But normal was a pressure that we would feel specifically by a really small bubble. And we still feel normal. I just want to be normal bubbles. Nobody is normal. There's not a normal person in this world. There's no line that makes every person the same. If there was, what would be really the point of our world? We would do everything the same. We wouldn't be able to love the same way. We wouldn't be able to connect. What it is, or what it was for me, and what it is for a lot of people, is there's a fear of the truth of you being unaccepted. When you find the truth of who you are and you start to communicate it with the world around you, and you've learned words your whole life, you've learned the vibration of words to help you communicate what's going on, what you see, what you feel to the people around you. And the truth is, even in your own language, that communication is not very strong in our world, because every word is its own vibration. And you'll talk about how you try to communicate ideas with somebody that you get very close to, and they don't quite hear what you're saying. It's because the vibration of your tone and the words don't mean the same thing to them as they do to you. We have tools that allow us to increase that translation ability to find our divine timing, but that's one of the bigger pressures that pulls us away from it in our life. We can encourage not only ourselves, but other people to discover their truest purpose and to know the love that is existing for themselves in all things, simply by changing a moment.
And being true to yourself and following your divine timing. Because when you follow your divine timing and you actually are true to yourself, it encourages other people and inspires other people to do the same, because they see you doing it and they can feel it. They know it and they do it too.
So our nephews and their friends and all the people that we work with in the community, they have a joke that they share quite regularly. And that joke is that we can take like a peach. They said you could come up with anything. They said you can walk in a room and you can say, what's this cup have to do with the existence of life? And in about 4 minutes, we can draw a connection between how this cup that you're talking to right now and your life can change and what you're doing about it. And it always leads to the same thing. People always go, what they say just makes so much sense. You get to choose what your energy creates within a moment. You get to choose right now. Are you happy or are you sad? Now that choice is being influenced. There's things in your cells that tell you how to do certain things. There's pressures around you. Within that choice, you get to decide where those influences lie in your life.
And if you choose to change them, that doesn't mean you have to get rid of people or the influences in your life, just maybe some receptors that are actually being sent out and how you're communicating within your own cells of how things are working, so that you can change the things and be able to communicate with the people that are around you easier and with yourself.
The biggest changes inside and allowing manifestations and allowing love and allowing all these different levels of joy and happiness and abundance were not large changes. It wasn't going halfway across the world. It wasn't changing a relationship or quitting a job. It was making a decision inside of my own cells to create with a certain energy and being very aware of that energy. So when I would approach a moment of work that sounded like, oh, it's work, this is so difficult, I would ask myself, is this the energy I want to leave to be felt by people who come after me? Is this the energy I want to communicate as a signature of myself? Is this what I want to ask people to give back to me? Think about all the energy that you give and send out. Think about the concept across all different places, religions and science. Energy doesn't die. Ever. It transforms, but it never dies. There's lots of definitions about how it transforms. Think about this. The energy that you put into a moment with a specific thought is going to possibly need to either be changed or live on forever. In the scheme of easiness, is it easier to create change and discover and allow yourself with love to be in a moment, to be felt and know who you are and leave that as the impact to be picked up on every interaction? Or is it easier to be overwhelmed,
frustrated, have anxiety, upset, whatever it is that is lower vibration?
If you have anger, it doesn't have to be a lower vibrational thing. You can say, I am angry.
Definitely.
And you can use that anger to let it be known why you're creating, but it can still be done with a place of love. It doesn't have to be a destructive force when you change the energy behind everything that's going on. It can be a clear communication. We can sit down with each other and say, this is the anger that's caused inside of my cells, and this is why I reacted a certain way. And when you do that in truth, and someone else says, that wasn't my intention, or just deal with it, we just go, okay. Because what their vibration says isn't validating us. We're not looking for validation. We have it within ourselves. And divine timing is all those special things that the validation of yourself and unconditional love allows you to create in the world around you. The pieces of your divine timing are in your home already. More divine timing is coming your way. They're in your lives. Divine timing is energies that you're going to cross in certain moments. You can become so aware of those energies that are going to cross that you're finding the ones that resonate best with you and fulfilling that in a daily basis in a lot of ways. In this moment together, we've learned a couple things, we've grown a couple ways, and we get to choose how we're going to move forward next. That might lead to some, it will lead to some of our energy crossing paths again. But it will also lead to some of our energies just saying it was good to see you today. That's pretty cool, because that means you get the choice about what you're going to put your energy and where you're going to leave it. And it means we had the choice to come together in this moment and create together. And that's what divine timing is. We were brought to a moment to create together. If we open up the door to see all the things that we were brought to give the possibility to create in our life, we can see it, we can know it, we can walk in it without fear. But to do that, we have to not be overwhelmed by it. And the only person who can see all those pieces and promises of the universe is you. We can see chunks. You know, you come up and ask us what's in my divine timing, we can do a reading and we can see little extra pieces of things. We can see that you're supposed to write a book, make a film, teach 35 people, teach 3,000 people, that you're supposed to connect and do appointments, or you're supposed to sing, or you're supposed to show up to the office and have 20 great friends every day. We can see certain pieces. You can see that maybe you're supposed to run a big company. Someone once asked us about manifesting and their divine timing, and they were worried about the impact that they have in the world from their divine timing. So they kept their manifestations really small. And specifically with that impact, they were worried about things like pollution.
And making too big of an imprint that would probably cause other people problems.
So they had discovered that a lot of their manifestations were running straight into this idea of making themselves so small that they didn't negatively affect the earth with pollution. Mm-hmm. So they brought it up and they said, shouldn't everybody manifest not to be too big and that we can all have just a minimal impact on the earth. That's one way to manifest. You certainly can. But if you do that, you're avoiding your divine timing. Divine timing is impactful. You're meant to be here to create with other people and have that impact. The co-creative part, the part that you have, is you get to decide the energy that you're going to make that impact with. So instead of saying, leave your manifestation that small and stay in your bubble, which is a choice, we laid it out and we said, but there's another choice. What if you were surrounding yourself with people who know how to reverse the impact of other people? And instead of having a small area that took care of just yourself, you took care of 50 people, 5,000 people, 500,000 people. Every day, people are making the decisions in their manifestations to create things that have that kind of impact and affect our world in that kind of way. And if our whole world isn't going to wake up, it's not our job to just wake them up, but energetically, it can be our job to create things that allow the impact and opportunity of choice to continue forward. So why not manifest 500,000 acre green location with all the right energies to work together, to come together and make something different for the world to choose, to make it a different option, a better option? What's limiting you from being that energy in your life? So all these changes that you want to see in the world, what's limiting you from making those changes for the better from a place of love and letting it be surrounded with people to help you on that journey to make it bigger than just your bubble? And that's what a teacher's class is. That's what we do in instructor's training. All the practitioner classes, those are your bubble. It's giving you all the tools to know yourself, know what you're controlling in your life. All the instructor classes, we're going to go create for the world. We're going to take our energy and expand our bubble. And we do it we have that opportunity all the time. You had that opportunity today in all the locations that you're in, besides just the camera and your effects on us. I guarantee that you had an interaction today that had a chance to impact a much larger world around you. Grocery stores, convenience stores, as they're called in some areas, walking down the street, going to the beach, walking out of your house, turning to a family member, waking up, texting a friend, posting on Facebook. When you think about it, we live in a time where you can make a living just influencing people in a direction. You can find the energy that's the truest you, put it out there for the world to see and be influenced by, and get paid for it. How cool is that? We live in a time and a place that allows that opportunity, that allows us to have certain decisions in that regard. And that's also part of your divine timing. You were meant to be here in this time and place with all these tools to be that impactful. So we've talked for a little while.
She's in divine timing.
Yeah, should we walk up and see what parts of your divine timing they can see? Definitely. You can see so far?
Yes.
I like this plan. So here's what you can do. You're going to take in a deep breath. Close your eyes. You're going to gather energy up from the earth and feel it coming up through the bottoms of your feet, all the way through your body, up above your space. You're going to see yourself in a ball of light. That ball of light can be whatever color you choose, but you're going to make sure that you're inside of it. Once you're inside that ball of light, you're going to go up. You're going to go through the sky, past all the clouds and everything that you would enjoy in the day, or through the night sky if it's nighttime, up through the universe. Once you get through or up to the point that the universe starts to shift, you're going to see layers of white light and dark light. Maybe it's the dark light layer you see first. Maybe it's the white light. Doesn't matter so much. Just that you're going through layers of white light and dark light. At the very end of those layers, you're going to come to a golden light, which will look like one solid gold light, or it could be layers of gold light, just like you pass through. Doesn't matter which way you see that either, except that you're going to keep going up through that light to a gray jelly-like substance. And when you go into it and you're still going up, it's going to feel like maybe your energy is swimming in jello a little bit. Because your energy might feel like it's swimming in jello, you might get distracted by all these other lights that are kind of bright around you. But don't be too distracted. Focus on a tingly white light at the top of this energy. Tingly iridescent light. Go all the way up to it. And make sure you go all the way into it. Once you've gone into that energy, take a second and let that energy come over your cells. Allow unconditional love through every part of your being. And then you're going to make the request to be able to see your divine timing now. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Then a couple things could happen. One, you could be taken to a place that has all the records of things to come and agreements made in your lifetime. And you may be seen like you're watching a whole bunch of movies of events guaranteed to come into your time and place and space and energy, agreements that you made with the universe. All of these will be good things. If you're seeing something bad, that's actually a belief thing that you'll get a chance to work on later. But divine timing is only good things. Or you might be taken specifically to your day-to-day life and move forward on your path until these moments and times and places occur. Further still, you could be taken on a broader scale of a whole picture to other energies, and you're in direct interaction with them. Let that seventh plane energy guide you in the way that you're supposed to see this coming into your journey. Now that you've been shown how to see it, you can always go back up and just ask to see it again, to see a little bit more. Since we're all online and we have lots of energies that are moving at different paces, and we only have a little bit more time this morning, we're going to ask that you go back up to that tingly white light energy. Make sure that you can feel unconditional love through your cells one more time, and open your eyes. I like opening our eyes and seeing a huge smile. Like Anna's got a huge smile on her face. Sarah had a big smile. Even Vicky's got a big smile.
Yes, I like those. Those are my favorite.
There's nothing like being able to walk people up and then just seeing, as you open your eyes, big, beautiful, cool smiles.
It's true.
I better click the next screen so we can see even more.
There's lots of screens.
Yes, there is.
So much fun.
All right. Do we have any
We have
questions?
some questions. Yes, we do. We have quite a few questions. The first one is, how can we trust to life?
How
How can we trust? How can we trust to life?
Oh. Trusting to life is a...
Oh, trusting to life. That is not what I thought she said. Okay.
I guess it depends on how you're defining what that trust is. Life is all around us in everything. One of my favorite things to do is to walk out on the grass, and I like mowing the lawn.
But feeling the grass on your feet definitely lets you know that you're alive. You get to feel the cute little energies of the grass. So
Yeah. So knowing that they have a communication, and knowing that there's certain ways that energy can be taken care of, and there's a level of mastery to it, is very appealing to me. But to just trust that it's creating and doing what it's supposed to do is kind of a little bit into your divine timing too. Like if you don't trust something, it might be because part of your energy feels like you would like to master and understand that knowledge
and that virtue.
I don't trust that the grass is going to be taken care of all the time. I listen to it and it tells me what it needs, and there's a whole mastery that exists that has been discovered more and more about their interaction as an energy as time has gone on. The same is true for all things. Like you can master anything you do in life, and when you wake up tomorrow, you can develop further that mastery, right? You can master being yourself. So if you're using how do I trust life as a way to avoid mastering yourself, then it's going to be a negative thing, and it's not actually something you should do. But if you mean you're going to trust life and trust the energy around you to be a part of it and be in harmony, then what you're looking at is knowing your value in it. There's probably 10 or 11 million blades of grass outside, because that's where we live. And each one of them has to be taken care of to be at their very best, for them to feel the best, to give the best interaction that they have. I can't give them their importance. I can give them support. For you to be at your best, to know your uniqueness, to know what you bring to a situation, that's your journey, right? That's the decision you're making. And the trust about that is, I'd start with love, knowing the love that is there for you from the world around you, and how important a piece you are in all these things. As the world goes on and life moves forward, we don't always feel that feeling of important or feeling loved. Before you can trust that the universe is working with you, you got to love yourself. And love yourself from an unconditional perspective. Because even your mistakes weren't really mistakes. They were perfect decisions. What made them mistakes was the knowledge that you gained from the decision, and how you wish to change something from that knowledge. But in the moment, that didn't exist. Didn't exist in your cells, didn't exist in the supercomputer of information that you store. What did exist was the motivator and connection that led to that decision, which was perfect, based off of what your cells had known and what your receptors had available. So you've been perfect for a while. Can't go up and request that you're going to be perfect in a healing, because you already are. Your body knows it. Our conscious brain, not so aware. Our subconscious brain, sometimes we take our influences and push it in other ways. If you're going to really trust life and trust that you belong in it, it starts with loving yourself and knowing how important you are. And I got the thumbs up, so.
Our next question is, how do we know we are in our divine timing or running away from it?
Great question. Well, Raena mentioned synchronicity. There are ways that your subconscious can tell you that things are in balance, and that you can find the signals that show you're in balance.
Sometimes when you don't feel like, how you have that feeling of I'm not belonging, or I can't figure out where I am, or you have that kind of maybe anger feeling that may be overcoming you, where I just can't figure out where I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to be doing. And you don't recognize it until you see that you just needed to make one little fine tuning or one little thing that you needed to change to recognize that you were in the right place at the right time the whole time. And maybe you were just trying to push yourself to be there, to be at the perfect time, and everything about you was just, I have to do something. Well, the have to word just alone makes it so that recognizing yourself and where you're supposed to be is not just going with the flow. When you have to do something, or you have to be in your divine timing, or every have to doesn't allow you to be in that flow of the universe with you. It's just like we talk about all the time in class. If your mom says you have to go clean your room, are you really going to go with it, or are you going to go against it? Because you're really not wanting to go clean your room when your mom tells you have to. But if you say, hey, yeah, I'm going to go clean my room right now because you want to, it's totally different energy that goes with it. So if you're going with the universe, you can feel the difference within yourself and the love that you have with the universe when you're in sync together. It's a flow.
And I think if you don't have that balance, you don't feel that in whatever way from the signals around you or within yourself, you feel like you're kind of an imposter. You hear this phrase a lot. It's a great buzzword. Imposter syndrome is a great buzzing thing, which means that it gets misdiagnosed and diagnosed and all kinds of wonderful things.
Sadly.
But it is a good word to take a look at yourself to see if you feel like you have the confidence and connection and belonging, or if you feel like you can ever have those things in your life, that you have to fake it, that you have to somehow solve something you don't have the tools to. Because in life, you don't have to solve something you don't have the tools to. The tool's you, your experience, what you bring to the moment, and learning how to communicate that. And from the seventh plane, like that energy we connected to manifest, you can actually very clearly know who you are, which means you can see what other people are as well and how to communicate across that barrier that you create. So the question about if you're on the path or if you're avoiding it would be, do you feel like you don't really belong in your own life? And if you feel like you don't really belong in your own life and you're doing it for something else, then that's a pretty good sign that you're either avoiding it or not even paying attention to it.
The next question is how to have more ability to believe.
It's a good question.
Again, within yourself, but
I think the answer to that would be the question about why you don't have the ability to believe within your life. Like, is it because you've been disappointed before? Is it because something else has gone on? I think there's this idea that we have to prove one truth, our truth. And once we start to know ourselves, we want our truth to be so right or so correct that it lines up with everything. So there can only be one. It's a phrase from a movie,
it is.
Highlander movie. There can be only one, right? And the truth is, across all these vibrations, there's room for many. And within your belief of yourself and yourselves, why wouldn't your belief be equally important? What you believe to happen, why does it have to be chosen between something else? It was easier when I was younger to be angry and to be frustrated about bad things than it was to be believing that good things could happen. It seems easier. It was easier because there were members of my family that it allowed me to connect to. There were friends that would be closer to me if something bad was happening than if something good was happening. So in order to believe more, take a look at what you want to really create in your life and why you've learned to create it a certain way, what you chose to believe. If you want to believe something good, if we're talking, how do I believe more in a higher power? ask yourself who defined your belief in the higher power as it is right now. One of the greatest things my mom ever did was let us listen to other people who talk about healing. And there's a story that we share in digging class. Digging.
Yes,
Yeah.
digging.
About a healer
Impossible.
that just said, why not? So why wouldn't it be possible? You think about all the reasons why something is impossible, and then ask yourself, where would our world be if everybody who said something was impossible listened? I mean, today, turn on your news in your local area, and you'll find 1,000 things that were impossible yesterday that are possible today. And they weren't just impossible yesterday, they were impossible for all of civilization of humanity until this morning when it was let out. But before it becomes information that is let out and accepted as, well, we have to redo what was impossible in our universe, somebody had to think and know that. And it's not a coincidence that so many things in our universe work the way that our human body does. If you look at how technology communicates and the different things that are going on, you can find direct correlations between what they're figuring out to do with molecules and things that can be done in the human body. It means that they're inspired by themselves. Things that are impossible are happening within you every single day. And you have a unique balance of that impossibility. So to open up your belief even more, start the question with why you choose, why or how you have to not believe a certain way. And then ask yourself, is that something that is true to you or untrue to you? And it doesn't matter what those beliefs are. It's just about keeping them true in harmony to yourselves.
Our next question is, how do you manifest good energy if you're surrounded by negative energy on a daily basis?
Oh, take it away, Raena.
When you're surrounded by negative energy, one of the easiest things is, first of all, zip yourself up, take a couple of breaths, and recognize within yourself that you are powerful, that you have all of the answers within, and allowing yourself to connect to the creator is the answer, because you can be the influence on the other people. They don't have to be the influence on you. Even if they're negative, you can be the positive within everything, and you can see the positive within everything, even the people that are around you that may be negative all the time. Find the positive within them and change it around. The only reason he says this for me is because I have a family full of negative people that I'm constantly having to say, let's change this around.
We actually just went to visit them, and it was very funny because almost every conversation ended up coming to the same thing. They would say something like, it just makes me so angry that XYZ is going on. And it had nothing to do with us.
No,
it had nothing to do with the state we were in or what was going on. It had something to do with a decision someone else made somewhere else. And they were angry and frustrated. And this is what's wrong with the world. And then Raena would say, why are you choosing to be angry right now?
Why are you letting it affect you?
Like, seriously, if that situation changes tomorrow, is it even going to affect your life? Like, does it affect you at all? And then they pause. And she's like, so why are you sending your energy to a whole bunch of things that don't even affect you?
Exactly.
Instead of the things that do? Like, why is your focus pulled in so many different directions? Is it your choice, or is it something you're just giving away? And then she does the Raena thing, because Raena will make a good statement and then she'll walk away. Like, she just turns on her heels and walks away. She's like, yeah, you can chew on that for a while. Which makes it really difficult to argue a different perspective if you're in an arguing mood, because the person that you're arguing with doesn't care to sit and talk to you anymore. There's, see ya.
And it works.
What if there's doubt with your divine timing? I have doubt it will happen, especially if you saw specific people, excuse me, in your divine timing.
You know, when I first saw my divine timing was a crystal layout. And the first parts of my divine timing, I got a little bit of excited about, because I saw some energies that I thought were cool, that I had a desire to meet. And then I saw some energies that I thought, that's a little overwhelming. And when I came out of it, there was all this different thing inside myself. What it was that the picture of the energy we're supposed to interact with, it brought up a whole bunch of my beliefs about how I was supposed to interact in that moment. You know, am I supposed to be a fan? Am I supposed to be a healer? What am I supposed to do? Instead of knowing that as you grow into the role of yourself with love and know you belong, how to see they belong and kind of choose to co-create a moment. This is what we're doing. We're choosing to co-create a moment. And it blocked large parts of things happening for me on a personal level for a while. And I'll never forget the first time that a piece of that divine timing had been cleared inside my cells to let into my life. And again, we were still doing theta healing. We were just doing it quieter. We were running our own restaurant at the time. And as part of that restaurant, we had a section that was a lounge. And it was a very slow night. And I'd let everybody go home to rest, because we were working a lot. And this person walks in, and the second they walk in, I knew who they were, because I'm a big fan of athletics, and I'd already seen this moment coming, right? But the extra excitement in my cells and all these different things that would have overwhelmed me before was gone, because I knew in that moment there was something we were supposed to do together. And that interaction that was together was for a specific purpose. And I knew that in that moment, the value I was bringing to the situation was part of the equation. So connected to unconditional love and could see what's going on in this person's life. When you do a scan, obviously they're coming in, they're feeling overwhelmed. So you just start talking. You say, why are you feeling overwhelmed? And the person started sharing all kinds of stories. They started talking about their life. They started talking about their father, actually, and how much their father meant to them on their journey, and how they missed him, and how misunderstood a lot of his actions on a public scale had been, that were motivated by doing something nice for his father. He must have talked for half hour, 45 minutes. And we worked through and did different things. We even did a little bit of healing work. And when he's finished, he goes to say, yeah, I'm going to come back, but I never really introduced myself. Do you know who I am? And I said, oh, I know who you are. I'm a huge, huge baseball fan. I love the Yankees, which means the Red Sox are not my favorite baseball team. And you played for both of them. As a matter of fact, you happen to be the person who caught the baseball that was the one that broke the Red Sox curse. And the thing that you've been talking about all night long is the fact that everybody went after you because you wouldn't give the baseball to the Red Sox. You wouldn't give the baseball to the Hall of Fame. You refused to hand it over. And this is probably the first time that you've been able to actually tell everybody, or a person, without being judged, that you wanted to give it to your dad. No one would hear you say that. You've probably been waiting, well, at that point, you'd been waiting 15 years to tell his story to somebody and to say, this is what I wanted to do. Now, I can only share that because he lets me. Because I've asked for permission, because it's a cool little way to do things. But within your divine timing, those certain things that come up They might seem big, and that's why we don't see it all, because we're working on little pieces. And there's a thing that we do in Theta Healing where we let you know, sometimes as we start learning baby steps, where we start learning to walk. If I'd have told you as a little tiny baby, and you completely understood that you would be able to run and jump and flip or walk super fast, or all the different things that you do with your feet before you ever took your first steps, and that you had to do them right away, it would be very overwhelming. But we don't do that. We don't take our child and go, all right, now it's time to run through the yard. We're not just taking our first steps. We're running. First day, out of the gate, run. We back it up a little bit. We let them develop an understanding of things. Your divine timing is part of things that are still developing on your journey that will come. And the only parts that you can see now are the parts that won't be so overwhelming that it stops your journey. If it's so overwhelming that it's going to stop your journey, you can't see it yet. And if you don't
What
like
if you do not?
go ahead.
Apologies.
Yeah.
What if you do not like or want your divine timing? Is this possible?
Sure. I didn't want my divine timing.
But it definitely just kept coming. And he kept being put in situations where his divine timing was definitely something that kept coming to the forefront.
The thing about divine timing is it's certain situations. And sometimes when we ask to see it, we also see the way we're creating it now. So divine timing comes into your life very quietly, usually, and you have an opportunity to sort of embrace it and do it in a very easy way. But we don't always do that. We don't always learn a lot of the lessons that will raise our vibration in an easy way. Sometimes we have ancestral programs or history programs that it's supposed to be a much more difficult process. So I would say if you don't like your divine timing or the way that you've seen it come into your life, take a look at your cells and see if things are supposed to be hard. See if they're supposed to be difficult. Because if you make a change inside of your cells and what you're communicating, you can change the way it comes into your life. And you can change sort of a lot of different pieces of things. The only thing that's guaranteed is those energies coming into your life for those reasons, or those things being created for a reason. But you can choose the energy that you're going to create them with. It's just part of your agreement that they will be created. So when you see your divine timing, you also get a chance to take a look at the energy you're choosing to create it with right now. Like I could see in my divine timing, I was going to work with my mom. And being 14, 15 years old, I wanted to feel like I had a choice to work with my mom or not work with my mom in my life. I wanted an identity. And it wasn't so much my mom, it was the situation around us. Like people coming up and saying, what's it like being Raena's child? And people coming up and energetically expecting some of the same things that Raena possesses in your interaction. I took that pressure, and instead of going, I do have some of those things, but this is who I am, I felt like that meant I had to give up everything I was and become that energy. And that was a misinterpretation. It wasn't what she was telling me. It wasn't what the universe was telling me. It was my own fear rearing and creating inside my life.
How many divine timings do we have?
How many do you want to have?
Basically.
The paths to your divine timing are numerous. You can change the path. The actual things about what's going to be created and the way your energy impacts the world, that agreement and other energies that come together to work with you on it, you can have 4, you could have 40. My mom usually kind of groups them into big connected pieces. So she'll say she has 4 divine timings, but my brain groups things a little differently than my mom.
Mhm.
So my mom takes a whole story, and if the piece connects, it's a piece of something.
Mhm.
And Raina's brain, she's going, because her brain works that same way.
But Josh doesn't work that way. It'll be like branches coming off that could be like 50 different highways onto a highway that maybe that was there, but then we're going to go off on a shoot over here and it'll be like, yeah, this is a divine time. And then maybe it'll come back over here.
So from my perspective, that same 4 would be like 200 divine
Exactly.
timings, because of each little section could be its own thing. And I like that it's its own thing to be investigated, but that's just
true.
the way my brain works. So if your brain is one big plan picture, then it probably comes to 4 or 5 little things in your time here. If your brain works like mine, welcome to
the 200 different ones of really great small divine timing parts that could possibly go into a big one.
But we're saying the same thing. It's just
Exactly.
we're seeing it differently.
Yes.
The last question I have, please give us a fast way to find motivation for divine timing. I think it's either in the moment or at the moment.
Cool. The fast way. You want to go? You want me to?
I can chime in with you.
Okay. The fastest way that I know, and I tell this to anyone who comes up and asks a question about what they're getting into and what they're investing in their life. The fastest way that I know is to invest in yourself and the value that you have in every moment. To know that value is great, and to hold that value of yourself, to know you deserve and you have that and you're loved in that way, and then return it to the energies around you. And that's the fastest way to see how we connect and we have the opportunity to grow on our path together. It's the fastest way to see our understanding. And it's really the fastest way to awaken all of your skills and abilities in this lifetime, is to know your value and radiate it with love in the situation. Now, when I say that, it means it's not overvalued something else. It's just knowing what you bring.
And that in itself is really easy to hear and really easy to say. And sometimes it can be a lot more challenging to do if you don't break it down. So let's break it down a little bit. Maybe break it down to finding the best things that you love about yourself and writing them down and saying, I love all these things about myself. And then there are things that maybe you could possibly want more of in your life. Like say that you want to be more optimistic, or you want to be more positive, or you want more, whatever it is. And you write those things down. Virtues that you want to engage in and have more in your life, things that you would like to have, and write them down. Say, I want these things. And then read them to yourself, tell yourself, know these things about yourself, and recognize that these are your things that are you, and you want to be these things, so that you can put these things into your life so that they can go into your divine timing. And recognizing and the more that you say these things to yourself, the easier it is to know that that's who you are, because your subconscious listens to everything that you say, whether it's positive or it's negative, and you're creating all the time. And so if you're creating things that are positive within yourself and you're saying great things about yourself, you're going to recognize those things about yourself when you write them down or within your head, because Josh doesn't write them down, or put them in your phone, however it is that you know about yourself every single day.
I think it also lets you not be pulled out of the vibration that you feel for yourself and the truth of who you are. So when you walk into a room and you feel all these, you're gonna fill in the gaps. People, even now, when we came on this morning, you took a look at what was going on with the other people in the classroom. You took a look at what was going on in backgrounds and voices, and you made connections and put a puzzle together about what you think was going to transpire. And that might have been a puzzle you started putting together yesterday or today. That's cool. That's your puzzle solving. That's a thing to be embraced. As an energy, once you really focus in and do those things that Raena does and see the great things that you possess and hold them in a moment, then you see things that are pulling you out of it. And you walk in and you feel yourself being pushed away from your truth. And instead of feeling like it's a battle, like I have to battle for my truth, you just know who you are.
And you start recognizing it because you just are.
And you love who you are. I can tell you right now, we love who you guys are. From your backgrounds, from all the different faces that are being seen, from the energies that you've been creating in your life. You are awesome people who've had and conquered amazing things. Some of you have conquered certain abuses. Some of you have conquered certain challenges in your own development that other people haven't had in their journey. Some of you have conquered and built businesses. Some of you have conquered and built different cultural concepts that you know how to live in and still resonate yourself with perfectly. And you know how to hold the honor of all of them. You guys carry this tremendous power of yourself. And it is beautiful to watch every single day. We get to watch here. We get to watch on posts. We get to see sometimes when you send us a chat. You get to witness all the things that you choose to create. And it's awesome. Let yourself see that about yourself.
And share it with the world. Use those stories to help influence and help others to do the same. Because when you embrace those things about yourself and you're able to inspire others, it's beautiful. And it helps others to feel like they can too. Because sometimes people just hide it from themselves because they feel like they have to hide behind blinders to be themselves.
One of the tools that is easily recognized by people who meet us for the first time or for the 50th time is we walk into a room and we push all that pressure aside and we go up to the 7th plane, and we know how to create with the energy of unconditional love in ourselves, because we won't be pushed around or out of our own vibration, because it's ours. We're not going to choose to give it away. We're going to choose to stay in it.
Or be influenced by other people's desires for what they think we should be outside of ourselves.
Because even if we try to turn ourselves into that, we, in some level of ourselves, it will be an untruth.
Yes.
And that will be felt in the moment we're trying to create with that energy, because we're trying to go outside of ourselves to be something we're not. And we can't. No matter what you do, you can't be anything but yourself. And yourself is perfect. The tools are perfect to create abundantly on your journey.
And if at any point you feel like it's not perfect, then there's comparison there. And comparison is something that is not, but it's a low vibration. There's no need to compare to the person next to you. Why? You're unique and beautiful.
There is no comparison. Your greatness shines in its own way. Sounds good. Couple downloads?
Yes. That you can see your unique beauty, you can recognize who you are, and that you can share all of your story and who you are in every moment, connecting to the Creator to influence people greatly.
And if you're able to do that, you're able to shine with unconditional love and know unconditional love in your heart for yourself in the moments of your life.
If you like those downloads, say yes, nod your head, put your thumb up, whatever it is you'd like. And if we can send a little bit of unconditional love to all of you, we would love to do that today.
And if you ever need a little bit of unconditional love, just a little bit extra energy to help you conquer a situation or to know how you're seen and loved, you can write it on a Tanaha prayer site yourself.
Oh, yes.
You can message us. Raena checks messages way more often than me. But we'll send unconditional love and let you know how awesome you are in life and what we see if you want to. It takes a few seconds. It's always something we'll do.
It's true.
We try to do it every day, not just ourselves, but Mom does too. downloading and connecting and letting the world see perspectives of certain things in their receptors.
We're so grateful that you joined us today. And thank you, Sanaya, and all the interpreters for being here today and for finding the words.
Thank you, Josh and Raena, for this